Alright, what's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Stock Talk, series I make whenever I feel it's necessary, where we cover some exciting news and price action in regard to some of the stocks we've been talking about on the channel. In today's case, I figured we had to touch back on the COVID-related biotech sector, considering we did just see some pretty solid news coming out of Moderna, so we will touch on an article that covers that. And it's been a while since I've let you guys know what my thoughts are on the sector, so I figured I'd keep you guys posted with my thoughts. Alright, so over the course of this video, again, we will take a look at each of these charts on the trading view, go down the line here on the watch list that you can see here on the right. Moderna, Inovio, Novavax, BioNTech, and Sorrento are the plays we're going to be looking at today. But again, we will kick it off with this article from Moderna. Great news. Before we get into it, I will ask you guys to please give the video a like if you do go on to gain value from it, or if you are invested in any of the stocks we're talking about today. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and check out my complete portfolio daily newsletter, first link in the description, if you're interested in my exact positions in some of these stocks. All right, so New York Times article, Moderna vaccine test in monkey shows promise. This coronavirus vaccine developed by government researchers and Moderna enabled the animals to quickly clear the infection from their lungs. Great news. Let's scroll on and read it on. Okay, monkeys given the Moderna coronavirus vaccine and then deliberately infected were able to fight off the virus, poor monkeys, quickly clearing it from their lungs, researchers reported on Tuesday. The findings do not guarantee that the vaccine will perform the same way in people, but the results are considered encouraging and a milestone in the struggle against the pandemic. If an experimental vaccine fails in monkeys, that is generally seen as a bad sign for its ability to work in humans. This type of study is considered valuable because infecting people on purpose, though sometimes done, is not standard practice. That makes perfect sense. On Monday, clinics around the country began a phase 3 trial of the vaccine candidate from Moderna, a biotech company based in Massachusetts, with the aim of enrolling 30,000 people to test for the safety and effectiveness. The virus was cleared very rapidly in the vaccinated animals, said Dr. Barney S. Graham, the senior author of a report in the New England Journal of Medicine and the deputy director in a vaccine research center at National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. Dr. Graham's scientific team collaborated with Moderna to develop the vaccine. All right, so this is great news. Again, it makes sense that they do it on primates. Again, primates kind of long distant relatives of the human species. So it is bullish. Just intuitively, I'm not particularly advanced in this science, and I'm not going to act like I am, and nor do I sound like I am, obviously, by the way I'm talking right now. But it is a very good sign, just intuitively, that it is working well in monkeys and that it is showing promise in primate specimens. Okay, so that said, that was the news that came out a little like an hour prior to market closing yesterday. But surprisingly, we didn't see too much positive price action from Moderna. Moderna ended the day yesterday up about 2%, so nothing too crazy. But I mean, this is great news, you guys. I can't imagine that this won't do something. I mean, I can't believe that this won't be a positive catalyst in terms of price action for Moderna. But from a technical perspective, Moderna is still dancing like. It's fairly flat. Obviously, there is some volatility in here. Again, there has been a lot of news. They just launched their phase 3 clinical trials on Monday. So it's, I mean, there's a lot of things happening in Moderna, and to be completely honest, I'm pretty surprised that we're not seeing more price action. I think the market is just getting used to this news, and they are very convinced. Not very convinced, obviously, because then the price would be doing better. But I think that a lot of the news might be slowly having a little less of an impact on Moderna and some of these other biotech stocks, because again, they have climbed a lot to date. Let's scroll out a little bit here, and let's actually go to like 6 months out. Okay, we're pretty much there already. Okay, so you guys have to keep in mind that just over the past few months, dating back to March, in March, Moderna was at $20. It's currently 4x since then to $80 and hit a high of $94, almost $100. So at one point, it's almost 5x'd. I mean, same for a lot of these stocks. Inovio, Novavax is up significantly. And it's important to remember, you guys, that, again, Moderna right now is currently sitting at a $31 billion valuation. So it is a very valuable company. There was some news, sorry, I don't have it up here right now. There was some news about Moderna pricing their vaccine at, I believe, about $50 to $60 per dose, which is more than AstraZeneca and some of the other players within the space, which is bullish news as well. That is a higher price point. But I mean, hey, like, if they're the company who is capable of developing this vaccine, I mean, that's capitalism at its finest, you guys, right? They worked for it, they deserve it, and if they set a price point to where they profit, then you can't blame them for that. They're a company, and that is That is what they do as a company. Obviously, they're doing good for the world. This is good. This is a net positive for the human species. But I mean, they're going to make some money out of it too. Okay, so from an investment perspective, that is good for Moderna if they are pricing their vaccine for profitability. So just keep that in mind. And from a technical perspective, volume's looking. I mean, there's nothing too crazy happening in volume here. I can't say they're like volume is looking particularly impressive. It will be bullish just from these general trend lines to see Moderna break up above this middle trend line that it has used as a point of resistance for the past couple months now. Obviously, aside from right here where it popped up, but it has been using this pretty consistently since back in early June as a line of resistance. Okay, so if it breaks up above this area, safe to say if it breaks above $90, I do think that it's very possible that we see Moderna once again, and I've been saying this for a long time, you guys, and again, I always say that it might not play out, which it's not playing out right now. But I do think that if we break back above this kind of center line of resistance and even begin to use it as support, I do think that we can see hopefully Moderna come up and once again retest this top line of resistance. Because I mean, this is great news, you guys. If it were up to me, obviously, I am incentivized because I do hold some Moderna. If it were up to me, I would have like $100+ Moderna easy. But again, that's up to the market to decide. And hopefully, once the market catches on to what is objectively great news, and again, we'll really have to see how this phase 3 study continues to play out. That's obviously the X factor as of right now. So yeah, we'll just have to see how it plays out, and you guys know I will keep you posted on that. Let's move on to Inovio and just some of these other charts. All right, so Inovio is not looking too hot, down 1.38% yesterday. So Inovio sadly did break down, did break below this line of resistance that it was setting back here since kind of early July, and it broke down significantly. What is reassuring though is that Inovio is kind of using this area right here. I mean, this is kind of a shaky line of support right here. You can see here that I was setting in June. There's not much to go off of here. You could move this up a little bit to get a little more reasonable of line, which is about the area that it was bouncing off of over the past couple days. So this is a very pivotal moment for Inovio in my mind. Okay, so it will have to, over the coming days, two things: not break out, definitely not break below this line of support, because if it does that, then I don't even know what will happen. It will likely come up and bounce off these two highs that it set back here around, what is that, like $16. So if it does break below this, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Inovio come and bounce off $16, which were the two highs it set back in May and April. So let's hope that doesn't happen, but it will be a good sign to me if it does bounce off this, at least uses this as a line of support, and then hopefully gets back up to what is now a line of resistance. If it can break up above this line right here, then that's a good sign to me as well. And again, you guys keep in mind, very driven on news. My biggest hope for Inovio right now is that they haven't released any news in a long time. So I just have kind of a gut feeling. Remember, you guys, this could absolutely not play out. I have a gut feeling that Inovio could drop some news somewhat soon. And obviously, when these companies drop news, if it's good, it has to be decent, of course. If it drops some decent news, then I do think we could see a nice rebound in Inovio, and then it'll make for an easier technical read in that sense. Volume is awful on Inovio. There's absolutely like no volume on Inovio, so that's pretty bad. So again, news is the driver. News is the primary driver in a lot of these stocks, and you guys know that. So Novavax is just such a strong stock technically. Again, it's still within this channel. It's still looking strong. I do think that if Novavax is able to break above the previous high that set, which it already almost is at about $150, get above this line that it set 5 years ago. So we'll go back in time. I'll show you guys why I drew this other line here. So we're right here. Oh, sorry, I just reduced that line. But yeah, I do think that if we break above 150 in Novavax, which I mean, completely isn't out of the realm of possibility at all in my mind, considering Novavax is just so technically strong right now. Still seeing a lot of good volume too, which is good. This week, not so much, and we'll zoom in on that after I show you guys this. But my next target, if Novavax does happen to break 150, would be 170. Just considering it did spend a lot of time around here. You guys can see, like, obviously, again, you guys know when I draw these trend lines, they're not following any specific area, but I did base it specifically off of this high that it's set on this candle right here back in September of 2016. It set a high exactly at around the $170 mark. So if it is able to clear 150, let's go back into about 6 months, make it look a little better. So I mean, again, if Novavax is able to clear this previous high that it's set, which it's very close to doing, I don't think it'll have an issue doing that. I do think it definitely has the potential to go up to 170. But to be completely honest, I'm not. Although Novavax looks super bullish, considering it has gone up so significantly just over the recent months. And again, you guys, keep in mind, Novavax is still at, compared to Moderna at least, a small market cap, larger than Inovio, larger than a lot of other players within this sector. Still significantly smaller than Moderna at an $8.6 billion market cap. If they do release very good news in regard to vaccine progress or something, then obviously that will be a driver in the stock going up further. But from a technical perspective, to be honest, it still looks good. It's still following this channel. I mean, you could extend this channel as long as you want. And I mean, Novavax is looking just so strong in regard to following that channel, as you'd expect it to. So we'll see what happens with Novavax. I'm currently not super bullish on Novavax, although everything I'm saying right now is bullish. I'm talking in terms of my positions. I'm not heavily positioned in Novavax by any means right now. So just keep that in mind. But from a technical perspective, Novavax is looking good. Volume is not good. It's not terrible. So we'll just have to see what happens with Novavax. Okay, so let's move on to BioNTech quick. So BioNTech is definitely trying the lower side of this trend line, of this upward this upward trend pattern. So BioNTech, it wouldn't be surprising to me to see it come and bounce off this area right here around like $82, $83, where it has kind of set this lower line of support. So it wouldn't surprise me to see it kind of bounce off that and then maybe try again to just stay within this channel. I don't think it's crazy. I mean, again, I don't think it's by any means a crazy estimate or a wild guess on my part. Like, I'm not really telling you guys much here. That BioNTech will probably stay within this channel. I don't think that it. I'll say this: if it breaks below this line of support, then that does get a little bearish. I do believe if it does break down below this line of support, we'll probably see it come down. What's most likely to happen if it breaks this is it'll come down to where it set this high back in the beginning of July around $75, and where you see this gap right here. Okay, so that's a pretty solid sign to me as to where we could see a correction to if it does happen to correct that far. You see this gap up right here that happened on July 10th, as well as a high that it set in the beginning of July. It would make sense that if it does break this lower line of support, that we see it correct back down here. So that could happen. But again, as long as it's staying within this channel, I do think it still has a potential, like a lot of these other plays, to hit the high end at maybe 117 at some point and try to retest that upper line of resistance. Okay, so volume on BioNTech looking pretty decent. I mean, it's been way worse. There's definitely volume here, and you can see the RSI is curling up here. On the other ones, I didn't even mention the RSI because they were all just curling down, which is a bad sign. But again, you guys, like, the reason I don't bring RSI up much is because I haven't found it to be super, to be completely honest, a super beneficial indicator within this market. Personally, I mean, a lot of you guys, if you're savvy in technical indicators and whatnot, you might see it, but I haven't relied much on RSI personally. Although they are indicators, I do use them sometimes. They are one of the few indicators that I do like using. I just haven't used them much lately. All right, so let's move on to Sorrento and then wrap this up. Good old Sorrento. It's I mean, Sorrento is still bouncing around this area that it's been in for the past like month or so, but it is these next few days today. I'm actually recording this day before, if you guys haven't figured that by now, but today's trading day when you guys are watching this, and the upcoming days are going to be very pivotal for Sorrento, in the sense that they need to bounce off this lower line of support. Okay, so again, this is a shaky line. It's not specific. You could move it a little up or down again like that, but I will need to see Sorrento bounce off this line and continue to use it as a line of support, to just be convinced in this technical pattern. And again, you guys, this is just a very general trend direction. This is a general trend line, but I really hope to see Sorrento bounce off of this line of support and again, hopefully come up to this big area around $10, where it did set this that previous, not quite that previous high, but I mean, yeah, at exactly $10. And I don't think I'm very fundamentally bullish on Sorrento. You guys know that if you've been tuned in. Sorrento, they're taking the multi-pronged approach. They're not only working on a vaccine. I'm not super bullish on their vaccine, to be honest, but they're working on testing kits. They're working on treatments. They're working on a bunch of other stuff to fight this virus, and that in itself is what makes me bullish on Sorrento. On top of the fact that it does have a $1.5 billion market cap. Okay, so significantly smaller than a lot of the other players within the sector. They have been getting some good news in regard to their treatments and their work with the FDA and whatnot. So I'm very fundamentally bullish on Sorrento. Volume is I mean, rough on Sorrento right now. Not super rough, but I mean, I would like to see more volume on Sorrento. And again, you guys, with so much of this news plays a part, which I can't reiterate enough to you guys. I know you guys know that, but you guys just know the deal here. A lot of this relies on news, okay? So again, I really just wanted to make this video. Sorry it was kind of quick and I'm a little all over the place here, but I just wanted to let you guys know my thoughts on the space, and I'm still excited on it. Like I told you guys, I'm bullish on this sector until we establish a vaccine, until we establish a treatment. So I always want to keep you guys posted, and yeah, please just let me know what you guys are thinking. If you guys agree with some of my points, if you disagree with them, if so, what do you think is going to happen in regard to some of these stocks? Please let me know below. Let me know any articles that you've been reading up on in regard to some of these stocks that you think I missed or that you think I should mention in a future stock talk. Again, always love learning from you guys. Always love talking to you guys. And yeah, look forward to chatting soon. So until next time, you guys, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace. Later.